On this week's episode of Friend Code, we're talking about the Smash DLC, reacting to the Detective Pikachu trailer, and Nintendo's gearing up for the next Zelda game. Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Friend Code. I'm your host, Michael Damiani, and this week I'm joined by Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
How's it going?
Doing good.
It's been a while since you've been on here, I think.
Has it? Yeah,
feels like
been a while
it.
Since I've been done.
Yeah, it feels.
I've been in a hole, so
it feels like I haven't seen Bloodworth in a long
Yeah.
time. It feels like a long time.
Yeah.
And Michael Huber.
I'm intimidated. I'm with the Nintendo big boys right now. Out of my element.
But we're talking about Smash Brothers and DLC stuff. And I know, Huber, you like talking about characters.
Yes.
And like potential characters for Smash Brothers.
And you just teased Zelda. I had no idea that was even on the radar right now. So I'm excited.
It's like all speculation.
I love
Okay, okay.
speculation.
It's fun stuff. There's no like details. They're hiring staff. We'll get to it. It's a fun segment, I
Cool.
think. And before we get to that, I don't always do corrections on this show. In fact, I rarely do them at all. But I'm going to do one correction from last episode because we were talking about the Smash Brothers leaks. But before that, I wanted to talk about, we do a segment called Flash News sometimes. We just go down like a quick set of headlines. Mm-hmm. One of them was that Mario Kart 64 originally was considered a no item mode. And we speculated for a long time about, like how good like Mario Kart would be without items. But we were like, no, it's like we love it with items. Like it actually makes it good. But it would be nice if it had like Smash Brothers level of options where you could customize everything. And of course, a lot of people came out and said, "Yo, did you not know Mario Kart 8 lets you do that already?" But then someone was like, "No, your error is not even like it's more egregious than that. Did you know since Double Dash there have been item modifiers?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? This is like, yeah, I messed up."
Yep.
But it also goes to
We're
show,
human.
love the items in there. Like I might complain about that blue shell,
Yeah.
but it's chaos.
The blue shell is annoying.
Yeah,
Turn
blue
it off.
shell. But you got the air horn. Just up the air horn drop percentage. Like if a blue shell's in play, you should have next item box you get should give you a 50% chance of getting. And if you deflect a blue shell, you should get a shield.
Dude.
You need to do risk reward stuff in Mario
Yeah.
Kart. But that was the only correction from that. We got some Flash news though. And we're starting off with a little bit of a sad downer for the first one. Mario Segale, person who Mario was named after, basically.
It's debatable the truth of that story.
Yeah,
but,
we'll be nice. We'll be nice here because they unfortunately have passed away at the age of 84. As well was mentioning in the references to the story that apparently, basically before Mario was known as Mario, he was known as Jumpman. But Nintendo was looking to give him a proper name, and the story goes that they decided to go with Mario because it was the same name as the warehouse landlord that Nintendo of America was leasing from at the time, and that's how the story goes. But there's some.
Yeah.
There's some.
It's later come out that may not be necessarily true.
Yeah.
That may have been trumped up a little bit for a book.
Yeah, potentially. But I mean, there's also one like John Kirby for the name of Kirby as well. Nintendo America like suggested to Japan like they picked that name when they were rebranding Kirby when it was originly just Po was the original name of it.
Po,
yeah.
Mr. Popo.
That's funny. That makes sense.
And the game wasn't tracking well in Japan with their focus testing and like the orders and stuff. So they were freaking out and stuff, and they went overseas into America. Hey, can you look at this character and give us a name? And they're like, yeah, this lawyer just defended us in Nintendo v. Universal. The case about whether or not Nintendo was allowed to use Donkey Kong because Universal said it was too similar to King Kong. And Nintendo, their lawyer, they won the case for them. That's why King Kong, Donkey Kong exist separately and and Donkey Kong gets to exist to this day.
Dude.
But that story is definitely true because there's a lot of like first-hand accounts from that. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Next bit, real quick. Junichi and Masuda, longtime director, producer, always cited as one of like the co-creators of like Pokemon. Originally composer, and I don't know if he's sorry. Let me back up. I don't think he's a co-creator. He composed the music for the original one, the infamous Lavender Town thing. If anyone could ever get that Masuda alone, just be like, tell me the truth about Lavender Town, the OG version. That was him and stuff.
I don't know. Lavender Town.
Oh, the creepypasta about how Japan, if you listen to it, it causes you to commit suicide and stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
What?
And they changed it But like
This
that's
is
the urban
intense.
legend. That's the myth. Is that
Whoa.
that the song got changed because someone supposedly killed themselves in Japan
Whoa.
by listening to it. Same with like
Crazy.
but I mean also something similar was the whole like episode of Pokemon with the flashing eyes that caused seizures and stuff. That was actually true. So
I just remember the Simpsons one. Mr. Sparkle. The flashing eyes.
sorry, yeah, I didn't. But Masuda's been there for a long time, and he is pretty much like the one in charge of Pokemon right now. But he made it in a recent interview. He basically said that Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu will be his last Pokemon game. He will be in a service director on, and basically looking to pass it on to a younger generation. And there are other employees at Game Freak who are service directors on other Pokemon games. They have like 4 or 5 others who directed Pokemon games in recent times.
Who did Sun and Moon, do you know?
So there is Shigeru Omori. Is one, like, I basically looked them over, and some of them are still old. Like one of them is the co-creator of Pokemon as well, and like a few of them are like about as old as Masuda. So if you're looking for younger ones, I felt like, as I said, Shigeru Omori, who joined as a designer starting with Ruby and Sapphire. Nice. So a little later in there, and then even more recently, Kazumasa Iwao, who started working on Black and White, was their debut.
Always wanted to play those. Kyle always says the story is really good in Black and White.
Yeah, he also says I spoiled the story of one of those, I think. Which I think might have been X and Y. No, it was either Black and White or X and Y. I forget which one it was. But like a potential change of the guard there for Pokemon at Game Freak internally. So that that also means the next Pokemon, maybe you can expect new things for it. I don't know. Like
they've already kind of promised that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I guess. Like with Breath of the Wild, they brought in a lot of like new team members, like younger members, let them run wild with some of those ideas. Run wild,
Run the wild.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chains. So good. No, I'm kidding. But like it's a good thing. Like it's a good thing to like. I've always said like I appreciate these long-term directors, especially at Nintendo. Like AJ Onuma, like done a lot of work for the Legend of Zelda series, and he's made fantastic games. But at the same time, I do feel like it would be nice to have someone else have a chance to step into a directorial position for the Legend of Zelda series and try some new ideas or try their own ideas for what they think a Zelda game should be. And Fujibayashi got that chance. He had already been a part of previous Zelda games like Skyward Sword and started all the way back with the flagship games with the Oracle games, and then the Minish Cap had been there for a while in Four Swords, OG Four Swords, not Four Swords Adventures. And you got to see like what he could do in the director capacity, and there's probably plenty of others. There like Koizumi has been a long running name there at Nintendo as well, and has done great things with Nintendo with Mario series. But I think there could be something that shows a sign like everyone associates Shigeru Miyamoto or Takashi Tezuka with Mario and Zelda and stuff, and now you see these new names, but now they're not so new anymore. So I guess it's like a new generation. But yeah.
Nice.
Fun news, but let's talk about Smash Brothers.
Smash.
Brothers. They had a big direct. They had a 40-minute direct. It's like longer than E3. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about Smash Brothers getting a longer direct than E3?
I think it's in certain contexts it could be fine. I felt like this one was like really weirdly deep down in the weeds in ways that it didn't need to be.
Very detail heavy. Yes.
Yeah, and it just. And I think the thing that really throws it off is just spirits is such a weird thing that I don't know that I care about at all. And so it has a strange like back and forth in my brain, because like on the one hand is like, well, this is new and it's completely different than anything that Smash Bros. Has done before, so it makes sense to explain it and how it works and all of that. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know that I want this. Like, I don't know what it'll take to show me that I would want to do this.
How do you feel when they finally unveiled World of Light, though? Like a story adventure mode, and now that's with the RPG elements. Now spirits might make a little bit more sense.
Sure. I think perhaps that would have been better to have been presented first. Maybe it's in order, know?
I think a lot of people have said that statement.
Yeah, because it's like if you really, like, you present this mode and you see how it works and everything, and then you see the benefit of spirits. I think, and have they said whether or not definitively that like spirits won't be any part of any kind of competitive play? Is it only for that mode?
So they I don't think I forget if they outright ruled it for online play. I know, like, local play, I think it's allowed, but, like, no competitive scene is going to allow. Even if it's possible, it won't be allowed. And I think for online, I like, there's the settings. You basically can, like, tick those off. Sorry, I didn't look at the image again. They clearly showed the image. I don't know if you can scroll down. There'll probably be, at the very least, there'll probably be an option to tick it off. Like, I don't want to fight anyone who's using spirits and stuff like that.
But the way they also talked about the online matchmaking was those options weren't guarantees.
Yeah, it's a preference.
Yeah, there's like, I'd prefer not to be with these people, but if they can get you with somebody quicker, then they're gonna give it to you.
Yeah, I think it'll just go by their algorithms about the queue times, basically. If it says it's gonna be like longer than X amount of minutes, well, it'll probably prioritize certain things that like more people are checking and like ignore other conditions. But I have to believe there are gonna be a lot of people are ticking off that don't let me play with people using spirits. There'll probably be like people who want to play with it, but I think there'll be a healthy pool of people who don't want to play against people using spirits if that's the case.
I think for me, it's just over the years, especially with 70 characters now.
74.
Yeah.
Over 70 characters.
I feel like Smash Brothers has gone through this weird cycle where it used to be, look, this is a simple fighting game. Like, all you have to do is grab these characters, grab any character, and every character essentially controls the same. Like, they all have unique moves and stuff like that. But, you've got your side B, you've got your stationary B, you've got your down B, and you sort of know what to expect. And now there are so many weirder characters, like Olimar and like Ryu, and they've just got all these, Bayonetta, I think, even has some weird things. There's all these other things to like keep track of already, and then you throw on, any character can have like all of these extra support characters, giving them augments and things. And like, okay, gosh.
So this is a good point I want to bring up, because I'm gonna dig back into the past here.
Excellent.
Because
I love
Sakurai, when he first started working at HAL Laboratory, when he was getting into game design, his philosophy at the time was that he wanted games that could a skilled player could enjoy, but also anyone can enjoy. He wanted accessibility, and that philosophy, basically got him like his chance, essentially, because Iwata at the time also subscribed to that theory. But more importantly, when they were designing the original Smash Brothers game, Sakurai noted that at the time, the problem with fighting games, he noted that they didn't sell very well, was because you had these big lineups of these protagonists, because almost every fighter at the time is a hero. They're like a good guy. And so the problem of like a player identifying like who do I pick? They're all the good guys. Like, single player games usually give you, here's your hero, or maybe you get like a second character at most, like in 2-player mode. And having to pick from like anywhere from 8, 16 or more characters, he found that was like a hurdle for a lot of players at the time. Also, getting invested in those characters or backgrounds or stories. He believed that in an arcade version of a fighting game, the story wasn't as important, because you were there just to like get your quick fix. You were there for like basically the gameplay. Yeah. But for the home console version of a fighter, you needed more background. You wanted to get to know the characters. So seeing how Smash Brothers Ultimate is, but where you're talking about all these different layers and stuff, seems like way out of out of league for what like Sakurai originally got into making Smash Brothers in the first place for. So it's I sense some frustration sometimes with him. Like he said, like that's the reason he doesn't like to tweet as much at fans and stuff, because there's just too much demands and stuff like that.
I can't even imagine.
And I feel like
imagine, dude.
Yeah, this seems like insane.
Like you tweet one thing and like 5 minutes, you got 500 tweets back at you. Like, nah.
But yeah, that's a good point, Huber. Like, how do you feel about like the story mode when you saw World of Light and stuff like that?
So hyped, Damiani. Were you with me when? Okay, in the cutscene, right, when Kirby crash lands, for a brief moment, Damiani, I thought he crash landed in the Keygrave graveyard. The Keyblade graveyard. I thought he landed there. I was like, dude, Sora's showing up.
I like where your mind goes, Huber.
But it wasn't, obviously. But then So I was like slightly disappointed, right? Because I was like, oh, that would have been perfect. Like, Sora shows up there. I was a little disappointed, right? But then we see something I didn't expect. Snake Eater Revolver Ocelot. Like, it just briefly flashed on the screen. So I loved it. I loved obviously the huge cinematic before, but then also seeing like, Rathalos like lurking around on the map. It just seems like something I want to sink my teeth into rather than, like a one-off, climb the ladders or what, a single player like that. It looks substantial. Like this looks like an RPG, like full on.
It looks like
So.
It looks like it's in the same vein, built off of Subspace Emissary, which is in Brawl, but skipped over last year because last year he had Smash Run on the 3DS and Smash Tour on the Wii U, which is basically a Mario Party.
So Subspace back. Yeah. So very excited because it just looks like I bet like so many unlocks are gonna happen in this. Like I'm ready to just play through this.
Yeah, they talk like that's gonna happen.
I feel like that's where a majority of the unlocks are to come from because you're starting with a small base roster.
I love that. So very, very excited.
Which is probably the concession that Sakurai made is that I want initially players to be able to
transfer save files anymore.
I want to jump into like a smaller roster so it's easier to like try out the game. But later on you'll have like all these fighters. The one thing that was a little interesting is that when we're talking about spirits and these 2D sticker images that will be applied to characters, they're essentially taking the place of trophies. So how do you feel about their explanation was that it's a lot of effort and work to go into making these 3D models, lots of 3D models that are only ever used for this one game. And it's like against Nintendo's kind of like design philosophy of like making assets and tools that can be shared across like different departments. And it was just like labor intensive for something that was so kind of like, specific.
Yeah.
So do you lament the loss of trophies, and how do you feel about their explanation for why they're cutting them out?
I mean, they are a lot of work, and they were always crazy amount of detail. I feel like they've had their time. Like in Melee and Brawl, trophies were really crazy because you got to see all of these things from games that you didn't even know about. You'd get trophies from these obscure Japanese NES games and stuff, and we've seen that now. We know those things. We have the internet has enlightened us to all of the weird Nintendo back history, and so I don't think that they need to do it just because they've always done it. I think that we've gotten our fix of how cool those things would be, and I can't see myself enjoying them the same way that I did in Melee or Brawl.
It was weird in the cinematic, though. They make a big deal about it. They're like sucking up Mario and turning him into a trophy, with red eyes or whatever. So it seemed like they're part of the plot.
Hubert, to clarify, that's actually the Sakurai confirmed it during Direct, which is like something like a lot of people have been like saying for a while is that the Smash Bros. Characters are just toys, essentially. Not necessarily trophies, but like amiibos, glorified amiibos, essentially. Dating back to the original Smash Brothers, with the intro, you go into that room and you see the toys and they come to life. And in Brawl, you saw that the characters, even in Melee, you saw like them, like they would be like the trophy form or the toy form come to life. But especially in Brawl, you saw like the villains use like guns to turn everyone back into their toy form.
Yeah.
And in Subspace Emissary, you're seeing that continued here, where Mario is like toy/trophy, creating evil clones like that.
Got it.
And I think that's like kind of like a theme they've gone with. But to your point, Bloodworth, I think it was. I think it was wise to expect like a knee-jerk reaction from some people that they'd be reasonably upset about losing trophies. But the more you sit there and think about it, like how much time did you really go through your trophy collection after like Melee and Brawl, like the last game? It's like
when you unlock it, you stare at it for a minute.
Yeah, you like look at it for a second, but like you don't really like go back to it. At least I didn't go back to it that often once I'd already seen it.
Even my favorite thing of all time, Batman, like unlocking concept art, right? Concept art is my favorite thing. Batman is my favorite thing. Still only stare at it for a second.
Yeah.
See it, cool, move on. So I think that, similar situation. I think it's knee-jerk reaction, like you said, where initially it's like, oh, we don't get the thing that we're used to and we love, but, you probably hop into Ultimate and you'll forget about it in an hour.
And these serve a more practical function now in the game. They will power up your characters, at the very least in World of Light story mode.
Yeah.
And so I think they kind of killed two birds with one stone there. They get to you make something that's a little less intensive for them, but it also serves as a practical application for the design of the game. I bet there's still like some kind of other additional visual imagery awards in the game as well. Like they obviously have the challenge stuff is coming back.
Dude, was Ocelot an assist? Is that what it was? It briefly
was a
flashed
spirit.
him.
It was a
spirit. Okay.
spirit.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like,
Got
just
it.
real quick, like spirits are like these like character images you unlock by fighting battles, meeting certain conditions. Then you got to break this force field barrier around the actual spirit to claim it, and then you can apply like a primary one to your character, and then eventually you'll unlock 3 secondary slots as well.
Cool.
And that's like you just build your collection as you go that way. But there's some other stuff. As we segue into the DLC stuff, they close it out with two final like announcements. Basically, that I think it's misunderstood. People think it's a pre-order only incentive right now for Piranha Plant, not PD Piranha. PD Piranha is the Smash, the
Sunshine.
Final Smash. Sorry,
Yeah.
move for Piranha Plant. But I saw I even read a whole article that was calling out Speedy Piranha is unlocked. I was like, everyone's making this mistake, but it's fine. But basically, the details are if you purchase and register your game with your My Nintendo account by January 31st, Piranha Plant will join the battle when it's available. So you don't actually need to pre-order it right now to get that. I think that's what a lot of people were running with that. And so that's the first one. So Piranha Plant, let's start there. Do you like that choice? What do you think about Piranha Plant?
It's fine. It's an iconic
Mario
enemy.
Yeah.
It's an iconic enemy. I mean, Piranha Plants grew up avoiding these things like the plague, you know? I don't want to get them away from me. I'm throwing my Koopa shell at them to take them out.
Now you get to have like fun with it.
Yeah. So
it's a goofy, fun character, and it's interesting.
Yeah, and as a like a incentive to buy the game, you get this thing. It seems like it's right in that middle ground where if you get it, you're stoked because again, Piranha Plants are iconic and cool. But if you don't get it, you're like, oh, it's just a Piranha Plant. I feel like it's right in this middle ground versus something like Soul Calibur 6 that had a fan favorite character from 3 as a pre-order thing. People were missing out. If you mained that character, you were disappointed. So I think this is kind of a nice middle ground.
Definitely.
It's weird to me to think of something like that, like a character that people will use for years to just be locked out. I have a hard time actually believing it. I have a hard time believing that after January 31st, nobody else will ever get this thing.
I don't think they don't say you never can get it.
Yeah, you probably just unlock it through the World of Light mode.
No.
Or
You probably pay for it.
There you go, Bloodworth. That's the assumption is that it won't be free after January 31st. They're giving you an opportunity. It's basically to get people to buy the game right away and register it within that initial 2-month window, and to get those sales in.
Is there going to be a in-game currency situation where you can earn enough to buy these characters?
I don't think so.
I don't know about buying. No, the buying unlocks. No, but there has always been there are coins in Smash Brothers, and you use those in the shop to buy I'm gonna imagine it's gonna be spirits and power ups and stuff. Because before it was always trophies. It was you can unlock trophies and certain I think Mii Fighter outfit stuff as well.
Do you think because the plant is in kind of a weird situation with early buying the game early, do you think that maybe the Piranha could enter the in-game shop with coins at a later date or something?
I personally don't believe
I doubt it.
I know that's disappointing, but I think it's the reality.
Yeah.
There's one other option. They could withhold it to a longer period of time, after the release, and make it free again. Let's say 6 months after the release. Hey, come back in now and play online mode. It's kind of like what they did with Mario Tennis. You compete in one online tournament. Sure. You can unlock Piranha Plants that way or something like that. Just they either will hold it for monetary gain or to incentivize people to play, to keep the player base.
Or if they do a character pass, you get all 5 characters and Piranha Plant kind of thing.
And speaking of that, Bloodworth just referenced the DLC plans, which was the final announcement of the Smash Direct. They are going to be doing essentially a season pass. They're calling it the Fighter's Pass. It'll consist of 5 individual DLC packs bundled together. And each one individually will include 1 new character, 1 new stage, and an assortment of musical tracks. Doesn't specifically say doesn't say like the stage tracks and character will all be like from the same IP or anything like that, but that's what you'll be getting.
That's the way that these
Yeah, I
things
would
would work.
assume.
The assumption is that's the way it would
It
go.
would all be
but
from the same thing.
Yeah.
doesn't explicitly say that. Just want to be careful. And you will also, if you buy the Fighter's Pass, you'll also get me sword fighter costume, Rex from Xenoblade Chronicles 2,
Right.
which. Okay, so
Just a way to throw Xenoblade Chronicles 2 out there.
without putting them properly in a game, but yeah, I mean it's been a lot. That's like give and tug with this game, give and take. Sorry, it is available to. So you can basically here's how you can do this. Right now, you can pre-order the game and this Fighter Pass as a bundle right now. So you can go out and pre-order that now.
How much we talking?
It's $24.99 for the Fighter's Pass.
Okay.
But you can't buy it separately just yet. Starting on December 7th, the day of the game comes out, you can then just buy the Fighter's Pass by itself
Okay.
for $24.99. And if let's say they reveal the characters before then,
yeah.
like let's say maybe at the Game Awards or something like that, who knows? They are giving you the option to buy each one individually.
Great.
And each individual one will cost $5.99 each. And that's their and it's gonna go through February of 2020, I believe, is the
So basically,
that's how long
one
it's
a
gonna take
quarter.
for them to all come out.
Yeah.
Essentially, the 5 of them.
5 characters in a year. That's pretty steady. It's good.
So
That's very good.
That's their plan for that. But the thing is, they haven't announced the lineup yet. They did put messaging out there like, please carefully consider that we're not telling you who these are yet. Like we haven't like finished
Right.
it. You don't know what it is. So consider that. That's why they're trying to give you different options, but at the same time, they do want you to buy into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So everyone's
It'll
looking.
be the 4 champions from Breath of the Wild and a Babam.
There you go. Babam. Yeah. King
Babam.
Babam. Man.
Yeah.
You got-
Or Thwomp.
Thwomp.
I want to be a Thwomp.
What do they just like each month they just start adding like a new like Mario enemy?
Ridiculous.
Goomba. The Mario movie Goomba. Go Goomba. But yeah, as you said, people want to know what these characters are. So everyone's like searching for clues, want to know some like inside information. But Sakurai recently tweeted out, as we said, he doesn't ever tweet. Tweeted out a 3-part tweet that I think it was 3-part that said essentially the lineup for the DLC characters is complete. So they've made their selections. However, he revealed that Nintendo, not him, made the final selections for those 5 characters. So that kind of caused a little bit of a commotion because Sakurai had been picking all the characters previously, and sometimes he would do a poll, like the Smash poll, and some of the ones who would place at the top, if they were possible, eventually made it in. That's like how King K. Rool, real quick, King K. Rool, King Cruel,
King K. Rool.
There's a period after the K, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. King K. Rool.
Someone was like, it's King Cruel. I'm like,
It's King K. Rool.
I know
Which,
what they're
if
trying to do, but like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure when you say it, it's King K. Rool.
Yeah.
Funny, yeah, it's a weird aside.
Yeah.
But also like Ridley. It's like, fans really wanted that. So he had a habit of trying to make it happen and appeasing the fans to an extent. So now there's like commotions about, Nintendo's going to pick really safe picks. So like the worry is now no Geno, no Banjo, like all those like pie in the sky dreams just not possible anymore because
No.
if Nintendo's the one, like the executives are picking them, it's going to be very safe picks that are going to promote like games.
I don't think so. I do think Banjo is still like this weirdly realistic possibility. You mentioned Sora.
Sora, dude.
I think timing-wise, that could be
Come
somewhat
on.
in the ballpark.
Before we get into some
It's
speculation,
so perfect. You can just
Except there's
see
not
it.
been that many. Like has one or two ever come to a Nintendo
Dream
platform?
Drop was 3DS.
Dream Drop was 3DS, and you had Chain of Memories, the
Chain of
original
Memories.
one,
Right,
on there, and
Chain
the
of
two DS games,
Mm-hmm.
358 over 2 days, and
So I mean that could happen, but it's a little weird.
coded. Sorry. But here's the thing. The problem with Sora is probably like a problem with a lot of characters. Sora is a licensing nightmare because it would involve Disney and Square Enix with Kingdom Hearts.
Sora himself is actually on
like,
Disney as well.
There's all these rumors about like the old joke is that like the shoes are like owned by Disney and like the different body parts and clothing items are owned by different people.
There is a Mickey Mouse on the Keyblade, right?
Yeah,
The belt buckles are Nomura.
Yeah. So whether there's truth or not in that, the fact that it's coming from an IP that has involvement with Disney means there's this another another entity you have to potentially go through to get approval. And someone dug up a quote from Sakurai from 10 years ago, so around the Super Smash Bros. Brawl time, about the exact quote was from an interview, and it basically said, Sakurai said, "It is impossible for manga characters to join Smash Brothers. While we can accept characters from other companies, specifically probably like video game companies, we cannot under any circumstances take anything and everything under the sky. That's because Smash Brothers is a game that requires everyone's cooperation." So essentially he's referencing like anime and manga are owned by like conglomerates, like committees essentially of like different big companies have a stake in them. So the biggest
I will still believe.
Everyone's been saying like, "Oh, I want Goku in Smash." Even I've been saying that.
Naruto.
Like that'd be amazing. But that's just think about when those characters appear in games. Either in their own games or Shonen Jump crossover where Shonen Jump like has like ownership stake in that and can negotiate and like in good faith with those companies to make it happen.
The reason I will always believe, well, there's many reasons I'll always believe, but one of the main reasons I'll choose to believe that it could happen is because Smash has a legacy now. You know, you know that if you lend out your character, they're gonna do right by that character. They're gonna respect the moveset, the visual identity of the character. So you know, if it'd be one thing if it was like, you know, a random person calling up Toriyama and be like, "Hey, we want Goku in our game." Well, what game is it? We're a brand new game. It's like, no, it's Smash Brothers. So I think there's enough goodwill there to maybe break down these barriers.
Crash Bandicoot came out on Switch.
That is true.
That's a pretty good one.
That would be a pretty good get. I would definitely say that despite even if it wasn't Sakurai picking the last 5 DLC characters, I could see something like Banjo. Like Banjo-Kazooie still even makes sense. Because that kind of cooperation between Microsoft and Nintendo to promote like both of them would be a big deal. I think and worth their time.
I know I bring it up a lot, but Fortnite crossplay with Nintendo, like this is a post Fortnite handshake world. So these
we
easy
had
alliances
Minecraft before that too.
And Minecraft as well.
That's
so
a Minecraft character is another rumored one that people think might be possible. It might even be more like beneficial.
Minecraft
I never thought of that.
It'd be more beneficial
possible.
to use them. Like what's his name, Steve or something, or I forget the character's name.
That's crazy.
But you brought up Fortnite, Hubert. Literally, like they could grab one of the Fortnite like
Ghoul Trooper or whatever, throw him in there.
Even if it's just an assist trophy, it's like a start or something.
Yeah.
But imagine a like playable Fortnite character in Smash, like. Probably be bigger than any of those.
Not even that. Just I'm not even speaking for a Fortnite character because I would want so many other characters other than that. But just the relationships.
It definitely makes sense, Huber. I will say though that quote, this quote excluding manga characters,
it's 10 years dagger to the heart, Damiani.
It's also 10 years old.
Oh,
it's 10 years old.
Oh.
I mean, the fact that it would still be a licensing nightmare.
Yeah.
But crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened. Shenmue 3 exists.
Yeah.
Crazier things have happened.
We're in the era of dreams.
We are.
And we gotta choose to believe.
Yes.
And I don't think Goku will make it in.
We gotta get an anime character in there, man.
I bet you at some point there was at least discussions in a room about could we do Goku?
Goku
and they pursued
Naruto.
it. Yeah.
We haven't had any
like One Piece.
any Resident Evil representation either, have we?
Nope. Not a playable character. No.
No.
I know people ask me for Leon.
There's a lot of Resident Evil games coming to Switch.
Resident Evil character in Smash. I've wanted Wesker, obviously, but you know,
It would most likely be Chris.
Chris, yeah.
Maybe
Chris or
Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
I could see Ada in there, Jill.
So before we get to the questions from our patrons about the Smash DLC, none of them specifically ask what 5 do we want or do you think. So
I just
name me some that you like. You talked about something like who do you realistically think will be these 5 characters?
I realistically want, you know, I love it, man. Easy alliances. You know, I really want a Sony character and a Microsoft character in this game. I think it would just be an epic hug everyone around you moment. You throw in Kratos. It doesn't sound too crazy to me, honestly. You have Viking, Nordic Kratos in there to represent Sony, and you know, Master Chief or Banjo on the Microsoft side.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. It would be the icing on the cake for what is one of the best crossover anything. You know, Smash is the thing of crossovers, so it would just be perfection.
What about you, Blood? What characters do you think
I've been
will
throwing
make
them
it?
out as I've been getting them. But yeah, I really think that I would be looking for more of those like big impossible asks more than anything.
Can you imagine Kratos? He's so nuts. It seems impossible.
Yeah, hopefully nothing like, you know, we get weird to segue into whatever we're going to do with Detective Pikachu, you know? It's
jeez.
like we're
funny,
getting Detective
call that.
Pikachu because the
Funny,
movie's
call
out
that.
this quarter.
There's something kind of about that, but it's not what you think. I
Yeah,
bet.
I don't. The biggest disappointment would be for me is if they have more Fire Emblem and more Pokemon characters.
Right.
That's no disrespect to those franchises at all. I'm just saying there's a lot of representation for those franchises already.
Yeah.
I would love something from something that hasn't been represented as much in Smash.
So that's a common viewpoint I see amongst the Smash discussions for the DLC characters. I will go with not worst. I don't want to say worst case scenario, but the more pragmatic view here is that I think Nintendo, if Nintendo is in control of these decisions for the 5 DLC, I think, sorry to say this, Huber, you're probably definitely getting another Fire Emblem character, probably from 3 houses, and it'll be probably timed around that game's release so that it helps promote that.
Detective
and you will probably, no, not Detective Pikachu, you'll probably get a new Gen 8, whatever, Pokemon from Gen 9, sorry, whatever, Gen 8 to 9, from Pokemon 2019. You'll probably get one of the new starters from that, will probably be one of the new playable DLC characters as well, as I would bank a lot of money on those two. I actually think it's time for another Zelda character. There has not been a brand new Zelda character, I believe, since Melee, because you had Ganondorf, Sheik Zelda, and Young Link and Link. They just changed outfits and stuff, but like that's been it since Melee. So they had like Midna, Zan. I mean, there's so many different, like Urbosa from Breath of the Wild
Sure.
as champion. You know,
I don't see them doing any champions without doing all 4. It's weird to pull in any kind of favoritism out of those.
True.
There's a lot of Zelda characters though.
Yeah.
Definitely room for at least one more in there.
Cass.
So, and especially with Breath of the Wild.
Cass.
Yes.
So
the
hype.
final Smash just plays you a song and stuff, and you're like the message at the end is like how you're getting final Smash or whatever. That'd be so cool. I do believe it'll be a Zelda thing because Breath of the Wild is still selling very well, and they want to keep that game and that series. They want to keep the promotion going for that. So I think those 3 are definitely a lock.
Dude, did you say Ganon?
So that
How cool would Ganon be? Like Pig Ganon.
So monster
Ganon, not Ganondorf.
So
Is that
wielding a
possibility?
trident, but like that's been
Like a
one of
big-
Ganondorf's final smashes. Is that Ganon turns into Ganon, just like runs across the stage,
Yeah.
and does that.
Love that.
Yeah, and they prove
It's weird though.
Size is not an issue because Ridley.
Yeah. What's funny though is with Ganon in particular, it's become more and more animal as the years have gone on. Like originally Ganon was, it was a humanoid with a pig face, and now not counting Breath of the Wild, Ganon is like almost like full on boar.
Yeah,
For sure. Twilight
definitely
Prince.
made-
And Breath of the Wild is just,
Yeah.
I don't know, this strange amalgam,
Yeah,
like
it's.
messy, I don't know, goopy
But they could do
thing.
like the iconic like blue with the trident and like the
Yeah.
tusks.
I knew I was forgetting someone.
Who?
Girahim.
That would be. I know
Dude.
fans would like that one.
Dude,
That'd be a weird one, but sure.
I
need it.
I think fans would like that
I
one.
want it. I want. Oh God, get me. I can't go down the smash dream hole, dude. Nothing gets me like it. It's crazy.
I mean, Impa would. I mean, they already have Sheik, but Impa, especially after Impa's representation in Hyrule Warriors, with the different weapon sets and stuff, would be kind of cool to see. But there's plenty. Let's get into some questions though. Cool. Get some questions about Smash DLC. B Singer, Smash looks great, but I'm someone that would probably play single player more often than multiplayer. Do you think World of Light and Spirits mode, along with other returning modes, will be enough to make Smash a worthwhile purchase for someone like me?
That's a tough call. I feel like I can really speak to this because growing up, I played so much Smash locally with friends. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet Brad at a young age, and we played Smash growing up. As the years have gone on, and you know, you don't hang out at home as much, so it's more online. Like, I don't really play Smash online. So the last one, the Wii U one, I barely played because just like playing solo online just doesn't capture that spirit. You know, Smash to me will always be local multiplayer. And especially if you're not into the multiplayer to begin with, I don't know. That's a tough call. Like, I wrestle with the idea too. Like, am I going to buy this? Like, all my friends already have it. Really, the only time I'm going to play is when I'm here with you guys, or it's tough. Fighting game value is tough because you got to, are you committed or not?
Yeah, well, and I think when you talk about single player modes, you know, when you look at the early Smash Brothers games as well as, you know, fighting games traditionally, you're really just you're going through the same motions over and over again. Just, you know, every new character is like, okay, let's go through that story mode again. Okay, let's go through the challenge modes. And with this many characters, in a way, it actually disincentivizes that. He's like, oh, I'm never going to go through with all 74 characters.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, whether these new single player modes can give you that reason to stick with it.
Yeah.
And as long as that direct was, I don't know that I feel confident in saying either way, like how interesting that mode is yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Bloodworth.
Yeah. If you don't have a buddy locally.
Especially if I can just only go off Subspace Emissary, even Melee's Adventure Mode, which I like the most of any of the ones presented so far. And even with like stuff like Break the Targets, like we don't even know if those are returning. Like Break the Targets, Home Run Derby. I didn't pay attention to. They had some Japanese exclusive stream stuff they did recently. I haven't watched it, and I know they unveiled like an arcade style mode, but I don't remember if they had these kind of like arena style game modes that are returning. But even with all that, even if it was all there, I don't think it's enough. I think part of the appeal of Smash is playing with other people. Just in like a multiplayer competitive setting. It doesn't need to be online. Like, online's just there for people. It's just to help more people play. I'm personally never been a fan of online Smash. It's never been that great, my experiences with it. But like the local play with people, like that's always been like a thing for me, and like one of the biggest draws.
Value is.
And if I feel like if that's just not your thing, if you've already given it a try. I just don't see, especially at a full like retail price, this being worth it. Maybe if it ever becomes like a player's choice game or whatever, and it goes discounted, maybe it might be worth getting it at that point. But it's clearly designed. There's a lot of stuff to do in this game, but like a lot of its longevity, I think, has to do with playing it over and over with a lot of different like people, like locally, at least for me.
I agree. Be cautious if you don't play competitively.
Jake Steinberg. Hello, allies. But it says Jello allies. Jello allies. But I don't know if I copied that wrong, so that might be a me thing.
I love Jello.
Do you think there is room for Smash DLC outside of the 5-character fighter pack and Piranha Plant? With Nintendo's new focus on supporting games post-launch, I do wonder if we could see more costumes or modes come to the game in the future.
There's always room for Jello.
Here's the question. Here's the main question. Because this has microtransaction money written all over it. Echoes.
Yeah.
Do you count an echo as these 5 DLC characters?
They said no echoes.
Okay.
There will not be echoes. No echoes for these.
Okay, for those 5.
Yeah. Who's to say they don't add them for free?
You can add them for free, or you can start adding echoes. Couple bucks here, couple bucks there. I could see
Okay.
big push to sell those echoes, because that's such a thing people would want. I feel like, an echo of Mario is someone.
Waluigi.
Yeah, Wally, you know. What I'm saying. I can't think of any concrete examples, but you know what I'm saying there.
I mean, that's a sound argument. I think I would disagree with that though, Huber, just because I think it would either be anything they do, I think will be a primary character. I don't think they're going to go the echo route anymore for any future stuff.
I'm just saying side DLC though. You have your 5 DLC characters, and then just once in a while, you throw it in kind of with the alternate costumes. Just additional ways to charge people for a few bucks here, a few bucks there. Don't make a huge deal about it. Just be like, hey, new Echo character on the shop, $4.99, $3.99, whatever it may be. You don't think?
No, I want to hear Blood's thoughts.
I would kind of think that anything that they do outside of the Fighter Pass and that very clear roadmap, it would very much be like what Splatoon has done, where they are adding more things to the game, they are bringing more content into the game, but it's all just going to be free updates.
Cool.
I
would love that.
Yeah, that's
basically free echoes would be awesome.
So that's what I think, Huber. I think it'll be free. The thing is, if they already pushed this 5-pack DLC so hard and it's paid for characters, I think charging for anything else is not in their plan for the first year. I think they would have been like upfront about at least that. I think it'll be free updates. They've been doing a Splatoon. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has dropped like an alternate outfit for like Breath of the Wild Link version and the motorcycle, the master cycle, essentially. I could see them doing like, oh, here's a free, like, it's not like alt outfit for a character. Here's one new music track. I see them weaving that in maybe in between the bundle the DLC pack releases, but I don't see like a brand new character being released for free very soon. Maybe towards the end of it they do one more bonus character, like, hey, for everyone, thank you for like playing and stuff, here's like a new character as well. And just weaving it in, because they have been doing that. Mario Tennis Aces, they have been doing new character releases for free, like that. So they do have multiple strategies for that, and I think that would be the safest route, is just weaving in free ones in between that. But I think we're thinking just in terms of like 1 year. I want to expand this. I view this as a question asking about the larger picture, the longer term, beyond year 1, beyond that February 2020. Well, I have to believe Nintendo's going to support this game for like many years. Yeah. Because, as the title implies, Smash Ultimate, they've thrown everything into this game. There's no way another Smash game's coming out like within the next several years. This has to be probably the only one that'll probably come out on Switch, period. Yeah. And
very safe bet.
I would guess I would not be surprised if there's a second round of updates and stuff planned for year 2 and beyond.
100%.
So, yeah, this thing's going to go for a long time.
Yeah. And 25 is a lot of money, but for 5 characters, 5 stages, that's actually a pretty freaking good value. I compare everything to Fortnite because it's the biggest game on earth, but like a skin in Fortnite is $15 or $20 for one skin. This is 5 characters and 5 stages for 25. Like, could be a lot worse. Like Nintendo too has like that Disney power of like whatever we charge. Jurassic Park, people will pay it $1,000 a day, $10,000 a day.
Thing is, Fortnite's free to play. Yeah. So people don't think there's got to be a price point where eventually you get a question, why am I really buying this? Yeah. But I think when a game's priced with a retail release. This would be $60.
Yeah, bring it down.
People are now going to compare. Is that $25 is almost half the price of the game? For sure. There's 5 characters, 5 new stages. But what I like, especially paying for Ultimate, that's how people start viewing it. I think it's a little slightly different there between a free to play and a retail release. Our next question is from Greg Ellis. Greeting, allies. Does asking people to buy into characters before announcing them set up people for disappointment? I understand the idea of getting people excited with each release of a character, but it feels like such a high risk. Injustice 2 got some really bad attention because of a season pass which announced 9 DLC characters, only 5 of which were DC characters. 2 were guests from other media outside of DC Comics, and 2 characters were transferred straight from Mortal Kombat. A lot of people who are expecting 9 different and distinct DC characters expressed their disappointment. Is Nintendo creating this scenario for themselves? What if one of these 5 promised characters feels cheap, or an easy way to make up the numbers? What if none of those chosen 5 are Waluigi? Are we going to see backlash, or does Super Smash Bros. Get a pass?
I would wait.
They were, I mean, you mentioned it earlier. They were right up front with saying, hey, you don't know what this is. Don't buy it if you don't have to. And I think Witcher 3 did the same thing. It's like, hey, we've got this deal. You can, buy the expansion pass if you want to do it. If you are skeptical, don't do it.
Yeah.
Straight up, just don't do it. So it is one of those things where there's definitely responsibility on you for spending your money. If you are so all in on Smash that you're fine with Piranha Plant and with Isabelle and with all these random Fire Emblem character number 3, then get your fighter pass. But otherwise, then wait. There's no reason you shouldn't wait. You save a couple of bucks by getting the pass.
Yeah, if you buy them in a bundle, it's like you save a few bucks. It's like I think it's roughly just under $5. Like it's like $4.95 you save, I guess. It's 5 times $5.95. I think they were upfront. Blood. They're also not coming out right away. Yeah. Like that's a lot of, like some of these games like was it just recently? So look over 6 right away, immediately, like paid character and stuff like that. Nintendo's not doing that with Smash Brothers. It's going to be a little bit of time before the first pack's even available. So you'll probably know before each of these ones are available on an individual level. You'll at least know what you're getting into. So you can either play the safe route and buy them individually, like is it worth $5? It's a $5 gamble essentially if you buy the pass. Or you're gonna pony up $5 extra over a 12-month period, but to be sure. But like, let's say one pack is one you absolutely don't like. And for me, I remember during Smash, there was one of them for Smash Brothers for Wii U that I didn't buy into immediately and stuff, and I passed over it and stuff. Eventually went on sale and got discounted, I believe. But yeah, like that choice is yours though. You're more informed, and if you bought in originally, you're not getting that money back. And if you buy the packs individually, and you find one that you don't want, you just saved yourself like $6 there. Yeah. You just got your return, basically. You saved yourself.
Like a random Fire Emblem character number 3. Yeah, I'll just skip that one.
Like the bundle price is always going to be there. It's not going away as far as I know. So just wait. Like even if the first one comes out and you don't like it, okay, cool. Keep holding on. If the other 4 are worth it to you, you buy them individually, but like you don't even have to, even if the first 1 or 2 are to your liking, you either don't buy them right away and wait for the pass. Like you have so many different options, I know, but it's definitely a gamble if you go in right now. And I would strongly advise, like I'm not buying the season pass until I at least know one of the characters. Absolutely not doing that.
Dude, good character, Robotnik.
Yep.
Throw Eggman in there.
That's good.
Let's
Echo
go.
Fighter would be, what would it be? If you did Robotnik, Echo Fighter would be Eggman.
Oh, come on. Come on.
All right. Last question for Smash DLC comes from Sheldon. Will Sakurai ever be free of Smash? During the Direct, he wondered when he'd get to take a break. In the past, it's been Iwata who approached Sakurai with ideas. And with Ultimate, at times, it felt like a last favor for an old friend. Once the DLC is done, is it time to let go of the franchise and maybe even Nintendo for Sakurai?
Could be. Never thought I'd see, I know it's way different circumstances, but I never thought I'd see Kojima shed Metal Gear. Again, it's different circumstances, of course, but...
it's not that different. Both of them talked about getting away from the franchise many times over the years.
But I feel like if the Konami drama didn't go down,
sure,
Kojima would probably still be cooking.
Yeah. Here's... what are your thoughts, Blood?
Yeah, I mean, it's strange because, he did step away, and then Iwata announced the game anyways, and so he had to create a company and hire people and make a new Smash Brothers, and and somewhere in between there, he managed to make a Kid Icarus game. So yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if he wanders off and does something entirely different. And as you said, especially as this being called Ultimate, it might take a while before he's done with it. But then he might really be done with it for a while.
Yeah. I actually don't know where to go with the next Smash Bros. We don't need to really get into that because we got to move along. But on the subject of Sakurai and what he does next, a lot of his history is tied to HAL Laboratory and before he left, and Iwata specifically. And I think since, unfortunately, like that has ended with Iwata's passing, but Sakurai kind of fulfilling this last obligation to finish Smash Bros. Ultimate, which probably began promotion while Iwata was still alive. I do think that I do get the sense that this might be like the end for like Sakurai and Nintendo. I feel like I would not be surprised if when this is all said and done and DLC roadmap is like outlined for like years or whatever, he moves on. But I do think Nintendo's gonna try and pressure him to stay as long as possible, especially with the DLC obligations. They're like, no, like it could be why they're wrestling. They took away control. Maybe they didn't take away control. Maybe they realized Sakurai wants to leave, and now it's on us to pick the DLC and support it for him. But Sakurai, he started with Kirby. Like he likes he definitely
Kirby?
He's a game designer at heart. I mean, if he could stay within like Nintendo, maybe go back and work with HAL on Kirby, HAL Laboratory, that could be a potential thing for him. But I can also see him wanting to like branch out and do his own thing. Like that was kind of what he tried to do with Sora was to be contracted to work on other things, and he ended up just being contracted by Nintendo. So he just ended up just going back to Nintendo. So I think that might be that his mind already might have been
Next up,
decided. Yeah.
Cross-franchise battle royale.
4-player fighting game opponent battle royale. Sorry, I'm making a bad reference to the original prototype name of Smash Brothers. That's enough Smash Brothers talk. We talked about Smash Brothers a lot over the last few episodes too.
Definitely.
Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to something other than Smash for a little bit. Let's talk about Pokemon and something that dropped for Detective Pikachu. A trailer.
Can't believe this.
A trailer for a live-action Pokemon movie. It's real.
I kept hearing people talk about it on Twitter all day yesterday, and I didn't have a chance to like dig it up. And then finally, I reviewed Huber's Hitman review while he was still out getting food. And then at end of YouTube recommendations, there's this trailer. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Buckle up. Buckle up for furry Pokemon.
Very furry. Like, that's the biggest takeaway is fur.
Like,
so much fur.
I get that. This is probably the most important thing to talk about. It seems to be like the one divisive thing about this amongst like Pokemon fans.
So many Pokemon look grotesque.
Yeah.
But like, I get it. They're going for a realistic look.
Pikachu looks okay.
Yeah, Pikachu looks okay. Kyle really nailed it with Jigglypuff. He's like, dude, Jigglypuff is like a balloon. Jigglypuff should not have fur.
Right.
So that stuck out to
but
me.
like Psyduck looks like a
Psyduck
duck.
looks amazing.
Looks like a duck.
Some look better than
Charizard
others.
looks like a dragon.
And the problem with Charizard for me was that he looked a little low budget, like CG
Well,
wise.
he's out of
with
focus
him,
in a lot of the shots, though.
Yeah.
It's like he's very zoomed in on it. But I
almost feel like with Charizard, it's the opposite. Like they didn't want to bother making scales. Like we're gonna make him look kind of scaly, textured, but not all the detail of the scales. I don't know. I'd have to look at it again.
Minor nitpicks aside, it looks awesome. I'm day one IMAX. Hype. No doubt. I can't even believe it. Like a realistic Pokemon, dude. It's so cool. Live action.
It looks like it's actually like a high budget film.
Yeah, it looks like a Hollywood
blockbuster. It does not
blockbuster.
look like your average like video game adaptation where trailers might do a good job of masking it, but there's clearly where they cut corners in some part. This is like no.
It looks like
a lot of money.
Hollywood summer blockbuster like visual look to it, like a Batman trilogy or like an MCU movie, the tone of it all.
I don't know,
clearly
man.
not a $200 million
Super Mario
budget.
Brothers movie vibe. Really?
What?
No, this looks professional.
No, just because like the
Ryan
visuals
Reynolds VO.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds
like a
as
huge
Pikachu.
star.
Bob Hoskins was a huge star at the time. Dennis Hopper was a huge star.
Bob Hoskins. Thank you, bud.
I think
that's the thing. It's just like this almost this strange like let's make it kind of real world, not actually all that related to the subject matter.
I mean,
Not
I don't
totally
know.
different
I don't know if
vibe.
it's like that's enough to judge it based on the trailer. There are a lot
No,
of
I don't
there are a lot of
think
references
entirely,
here
but-
and there, like nods to like the games and like the world of the games as well. I think the problem with Mario Brothers, real quick, is that like it went for a realistic look, but it just looked goofy though because Mario Brothers never ever intended to like look real or even like take place in a
That's
real world.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
But like Pokemon's it's supposed to be the real world, but like Pokemon exists. That's like the premise of it. It's
think-
like it's your daily life, and then these creatures just exist alongside you. And like first group shot, Pokemon are just mingling in with people
Yeah.
and stuff. Like that's probably how it would work. If you,
I think
yeah.
the one shot we didn't get,
Yeah.
because we got these traditional Hollywood trailers, right? It'll flash the title and then come back with like a little stinger at the end. It was like Charizard kind of coming up and munching,
trying
right?
to bite Pikachu.
I don't know if they're saving it, if it's not done yet. Would have loved for a classic, like throw out the Pokeball.
Yeah.
That was one thing we did.
Yeah, that's what.
You're saving
They're
that,
gotta
Huber.
save it, right?
That's
But-
a moment.
Respect for saving it, but you would think in the debut trailer that they would like
Show that.
show that. So I'm wondering.
I guess like the
Like,
main
if they
character
are
though,
saving
they're setting it up as that they're like looked at doing like a dead end job and stuff, like almost like tech support or some kind. He had like the headset on and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got the pressure of like, hey, your dad was this great person. You could be like, he goes, I'm not my dad and stuff.
Yeah.
Dad goes missing.
Rebelling
So
against the gym.
yeah, but he's got all these posters of these classic fights, the battles and stuff between the Pokemon. So obviously, there's that background there. So that's gonna happen. Like there's I think they're saving it either for like the next trailer, or they want those reveals to be in like the movie,
Gym
like
battle
the
hype,
gym
dude.
battle.
I'm so
like
ready
the
for this
badge
movie.
moment.
I'm ready. Lead character looks super jolly too.
I haven't. So the problem is I haven't played Detective Pikachu, so I don't really understand. I don't know where the lore lines up with this. But the concept of him being able to understand and having one voice and then everyone else just hearing like the classic Pikachu voice, it's really weird to me. Like I don't understand why he isn't just Detective Pikachu and that's just his character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I, that's something that'll have to be explained in the film, obviously.
It's a Kyle Bossman question.
Yeah, we're like, ooh, why is this going on? The trailer kind of like the best you assume is that, he worked with his father or something. So there's some like bond there, or something about his family line. Who knows what it is, But they obviously have to have an answer for that hopefully makes like good sense. But
Yeah.
I gotta believe that.
Totally. It looked like it was the driving plot. Like, yo, you can hear me? What? You understand me?
It's hilarious because his voice is the cute Pika Pika too. I thought it was gonna be like Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
Pika Pika, and then he does it. It's like the game Pika Pika. I was like,
It's
oh,
so
okay.
good.
Oh, you're adorable. Oh yeah, you're adorable. You can't hear me. I think the line delivery, like the dialogue for Ryan Reynolds is pretty good. Like,
Will the post credits scene setting up the Pokemon cinematic universe be Mewtwo crashing to Earth?
Giovanni like within a chamber with Mewtwo? Yeah, who's playing Giovanni, baby? Yeah,
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, he's like in the meth cooking Mewtwo. And he comes out, and Jesse shows up.
So good.
No.
I'm ready.
We got a few quick questions about Pokemon,
Perfect.
Okay.
Detective Pikachu, our reactions. Eric Jackson, in the wake of the Detective Pikachu trailer, what Nintendo properties would you love to see adapted into a film or show? It can simply be a character or franchise and not necessarily an adaptation of a specific game.
Blood, Metroid. Come on.
That would require a lot of budget.
Yes.
If it's live
Metroid would be
Who's
a heck
got-
of a lot of budget.
That's what I mean, though. Who's got the budget? Nintendo.
Who's got the budget?
Pony up,
James
dude.
Cameron's Metroid.
James Cameron's Metroid, dude. Oh, yes.
James Cameron.
Dude. Yes, Damiani. That would be a visual
I think
feast.
Metroid would be so hard. I think it would be hard.
It would be very hard, of course, but the framework is there for just a sci-fi epic, dude.
I feel like that, like a Netflix animated version, like with Castlevania from Metroid, would be like the
that's
safest
cool.
route.
That is safe
But
and
you
cool.
want the live action.
Yeah,
Let's-
and like Zelda too, obviously. Like
That'd be like Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
budgets.
Rings, yeah. So
Don't know about that one.
that's why I really want Metroid, because like it would, everyone's obviously going to compare a Zelda to a Game of Thrones or a Lord of the Rings. So
I mean, Metroid always get compared to an Aliens.
Aliens, of course, but Aliens is so like, I guess the new one just came out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, we're getting this. We're getting Detective Pikachu, and we're getting Illumination's Mario adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how these go,
Yeah.
and then maybe we can. Because right now, the best I could say is like the Castlevania Netflix was like a really good adaptation.
And I think the thing too is Metroid. It's like it would be such an un-Nintendo thing if you were going to make that into a more realistic film, because Metroid sucking the heck out of somebody is brutal.
Yeah.
You're going to show that? You're going to have these big freaking claws just clamp into
So
somebody's
epic.
body.
Dude,
forgot
Guillermo
you were-
del Toro's Metroid. Let's
The
go.
creature designs for that would be amazing. I forgot this. Brie Larson went for Halloween as Samus,
Dude,
and even tweeted out like, "Oh, that's so sad. There'll never be a Metroid movie." And she was basically like, "I'd love to do it and stuff." Basically, so it's
Larson
like,
and Samus, it's perfect.
there you go. I mean, there
Perfection.
is some hope for that. Carl Williams. Now that we have seen some Pokemon designs in the Detective Pikachu trailer, which Pokemon are you hoping to see in the movie and why? So one that we haven't seen yet. Is there anyone you want to see realized in this Detective Pikachu style?
Like Onyx or something, yeah.
That'd be intimidating. That'd be scary.
Yeah.
That'd be very scary.
I want like Gengar or Haunter or something.
Snorlax.
Snorlax.
Snorlax will be there. Dude, you gotta have like.
You think there's just a giant beanbag chair,
yeah.
and then it wakes up slightly and then goes back to sleep.
If the Snorlax joke in the movie doesn't land, minus points. You gotta nail that joke.
Poke a flute out. I was thinking to see Pikachu, which is great. And my favorite Pokemon, obviously, mainstay, but like Mew. Like, there's one Pokemon that needs that fur. Give me that like cat version of Mew. Like,
Yeah. Mew hype.
then sell me the plushie toy of that, and I'll buy like 10 of them. We'll do that day one, baby. Andreas wants to know, with Detective Pikachu getting a positive reaction, do you think that we can get a Super Smash Brothers crossover event with a free skin update for the Pokemon in the game closer to the film's release? So Pokemon get like an alternate outfit,
Little
which
skin.
is their
Yeah.
movie version.
Detective Pikachu Echo is like already locked. Draft your tweets. Lock it
It's
in.
happening.
Yeah.
With Ryan Reynolds
I
voicing
think
it. And
it'll
everything.
just-
Ryan Reynolds voice back.
They already have so many little Pikachu skins. I just think, yeah, you'll just get the cap and the magnifying glass.
Yeah. Easy to throw in there. Jolly tie-in.
I might already be there, to be honest.
Just waiting to flip the switch.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the game's already out, so just yeah.
We'll see. It might happen.
We will.
Strong thing. Our final topic of the episode. Nintendo has begun hiring for the next Legend of Zelda game. So on the Japanese website for Nintendo, 2 job listings were found. The first job posting is for a 3D CG designer. They specified that is for terrain topography production for stuff such as the field and dungeons. Requirements: experience making backgrounds in Maya and Adobe Photoshop, working in HD hardware, and Japanese fluency. Just like other skills as well. And it says interest in Zelda is like one of the like other things they're looking for. The second posting is for a level designer. They're looking for someone to plan game events, the field, dungeons, as well as enemies, and experience working as a game planner for consumer games and Japanese fluency. So the 3D CG thing obviously means it's for the next Breath of the Wild entry, because I saw some people trying to ask, "Oh, is this for the new? Is this the next Zelda game? Would it could be 2D?" And like, nah, you're not hiring that 3D CG person if it's for if it's for Breath of the Wild 2, essentially. So we got some questions about this, and so you saw they mentioned dungeons.
Yes.
And the first question from Anthony: Talking Zelda, I would of course love to see more uniquely themed dungeons return, but especially those of the spooky variety. I want the fear I felt going into the Shadow Temple in Ocarina, or the dread as you enter the moon in Majora's Mask. What themed dungeon would you most like to see return? Maybe something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. That's, I think, what everyone wanted after Breath of the Wild was better dungeons. Similar to Twilight Princess. They do some of my favorite dungeons in the franchise.
Yeah.
You know, the ice what is it? The
with the Yetis.
Yeti one.
Yeah.
What's
You want more of that?
Snow
Peak, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Because there's always the Majora's Mask one, which is Snow Head Temple,
Yeah.
and then there's Snow Peak Ruins.
Snow Peak Ruins
is
is it.
the
Yeah,
mansion level in
Yes.
Twilight Princess. I love that, Huber.
Just like that. more-
Non-traditional
Yes.
dungeons. Like, you don't think it's a dungeon.
Yeah.
You're going through like a manor in that one.
Exactly.
And that was something I expected. That was what they sold me on with Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
It was like unconventional areas. This part of the environment might feel like a dungeon. I'm like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, it'd be awesome. But obviously, for me, it didn't go that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love, aside from a good traditional dungeon, I'd love to see just something more unconventional, like just some kind of area you wouldn't expect to be a dungeon, but they turn it into
That
a
Well,
balance.
there was
Have both.
there was that section of the map that I was slightly let down on, where it was like always storming. Like you saw it in the distance. There was like all these thunderstorms
the lightning,
and stuff.
yeah.
And
like
you
the
get there, and
northwest.
there's a bunch of mushroomy things, but it didn't feel like there's a whole lot going on
What
with
about
it.
like there are two other parts like that, the all dark area, like the all I forget the name of the zone in Breath of the Wild, but like it was like encompassed, it was like dark forest.
Yeah.
And you had to like light up stuff to navigate. It wasn't a proper dungeon, but it felt kind of like like that.
dude, I
Yeah.
love that part.
Like, it would have been great if that was like a mandatory. I forget if it was mandatory, but if it, let's say it wasn't a mandatory objective, that was like a dungeon, even optional. Heck, optional dungeons would be a great idea for this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, because I think that's the thing is like, you know, piggyback on that idea with the shrines where like it could be anywhere, you could stumble across it, but you stumble across something that's just gigantic. You just like, you know, like I mean, again, going back to the original Zelda, like, oh, I burned a bush, and there's a hole in the ground. And holy crap, this is level 7 or whatever. You know, it's like, yeah.
You're like, wait, what? Okay, let's do this. Let's go. We found a dungeon here.
Yeah.
But any unique theme dungeon, either like one you've
They've
seen before,
gone
that
through
you'd like to come
like
back,
anything
or...
that you could think of as a theme. I think the only thing, you know, like again, going back to Snow Peak Ruins, would be to really find good ways to tie that into making the world more interesting and believable story-wise. Yeah. To not just be like a random maze.
Yeah, even like the area in Breath of the Wild that has like a battle went down near the ramparts, and there's like, you know, the arrows stuck in shields and stuff. Like, have a little rampart be kind of a little mini dungeon, just environmental stuff like that.
I like that, Hubert. Just like I always love to sing its praises. Like just how Hyrule Castle was presented in Breath of the Wild. It essentially is a dungeon, but so many multiple paths. You can miss so many things. I would take that. If they just made like 4 or 5 or even 6 of those types of environments in the next Breath of the Wild, and they can be mandatory or optional, but they are essentially like these giant sprawling like structures that are dungeons. There's a boss, maybe multiple bosses in there. Like I think there's a way to make dungeon-like environments again with like boss encounters that like fit into the mentality of Breath of the Wild of like, explore, do what you want to do, see what you want to see, but like it's not required to do. We're not going to force you to do this, but there would be a good payoff. Theme wise, I think as Blood said, they've pretty much like done everything. I mean, I'd be glad to see almost anything come back. The mentioned Shadow Temple, like the Spirit Temple in Ocarina of Time, like broken into 2 parts. Like you have to solve it as young Link a bit. You have to go through it as young Link, unlock some parts, come back as adult Link, and then you've unlocked parts. Like it'd be kind of cool if they had that concept of a dungeon that you can't complete it in one go or something.
Or remember, was it Kakariko? Remember, there's like a well.
Yeah.
But you had to come back, like drain the well or something.
The idea of the Song of Storms. Yeah.
And so I think something like that, where you know you could just be like it could be one of the regular towns. You're in there. You've done all kinds of quests and things, and then all of a sudden you get some kind of item or spell or something, and you open up something like that, something like a well draining where. Under the town, there's all kinds of other craziness.
Yeah, and really tie in the context and the motivations for each dungeon too. You know, having some like Dragon Quest does it really well. I feel like you're going into a dungeon for a specific reason. Like maybe someone's in there. Like I think of Dragon Quest 8. You know, he throws the like mystical ball down there, and it lands on the monster, and the monster gets like really mean and defend. You know, just having more of that tie in rather than. You know,
Oh, dude.
like Breath of the Wild
Well, think about-
tried that kind of with the Guardians. Like you're kind of going in there to free the Guardians. I like that. Just it was kind of repetitive by the end.
Yeah.
Just having more reasons to kind of go in there.
Or, you know, we had the dragons in Breath of the Wild were, you know, relatively peaceful. But imagine if you did something to anger a dragon and it just burrows its way into a mountain and you follow it into that burrow and then there's the whole
like
dungeon.
crafted
Yeah.
a dungeon. Like
Yeah.
unique stuff like that would
Yeah.
like just like make a sense of like awe.
Totally.
Make you go like wow.
like those individual stories
Heck,
within
yeah,
each dungeon.
Dude, I would take that. I would take if they broke the next like map into like regional areas and they're not all required. Just like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
You go to one area, like there's a tribe or something, it has its own story. And there's a dungeon associated with that. Like it's kind of more of the traditional Zelda, but you just make it optional and like maybe, you know, the dungeon you can go about it different ways. Love to see that. Things
Damiani, if Breath of the Wild 2 was exactly the same, like pretty much looks the same,
just like a different
controls the same,
just a
you're
different world or
cooking,
something.
different area,
Yeah.
but with better dungeons, would that be enough for you? Would you be happy?
I mean, it'd be a good step. I don't know if I can definitively say that would make me happy. I mean, it still need to be good. I can qualify this, Huber. I can say there's two other things I'm looking for them to evolve in the next game that was introduced in Breath of the Wild. They put a limit on items. You basically got every item you were getting in
Right.
the initial training area, the tutorial area. And it made sense why, because every puzzle revolved around you having those access to that immediately. I would love to see an evolution of that where they add a few more items. They are rewards for going out and doing an optional dungeon or something like that. And while there is a way to solve, or I keep saying solve, to complete a dungeon with the core set of items you might get again, maybe there are shortcuts and stuff that make dungeons easier if you have those optional items.
Yeah.
Or even an optional dungeon that cannot be done with your core set of items. You have to go get additional items. Basically rewarding you for exploring, doing optional dungeons, getting new items, but like they can still design dungeons in a way that has like a crit path so that you still get that sense of I can do anything in any order. I don't need to rely on, like, there's no specific hookshot puzzle that I have to complete or else I can't beat it. Maybe a room does have a hookshot puzzle, but, like, I'm just going to go this way and do that. But it takes you through a whole different, like, wing of a dungeon or something. Like, that's...
Ambitious.
there you
hype.
go. That's, like,
That's
evolved.
hype.
That's keeping the structure.
Totally.
And then with the durability system. We have all this cooking, crafting, and stuff. I want to see crafting turned into a way that I can either immediately craft... replacements for my stuff, like there's a system to learn it, because you could go buy replacements, which factored into like a very like strict economy there for a lot of the game.
I did like that.
But what if there was a way to either like you spend like to buy like a tome and now like I know how to make this item again, or if you don't want to go that route and want to address the durability concerns, a way to make items like reinforced. Like some kind of like you find a new gem or something, like a blacksmith forging system. Like this bow will only last for like 20 shots or something, and then it's gonna break, or it's about to break. You bring it to a blacksmith or something. If you have the right items, I can reforge this. So it's either the cheap version, we'll just replenish it to full durability, or I can enhance it and it'll go to like plus. There were some things that had like the plus strength plus whatever, but I wish you had control over and like authority over implementing that and like questing for that.
Totally.
Those are the two big things I'd love to see, Huber.
Excellent. Gets me hyped on.
Any other last thing you'd want to see from the new Zelda that you're looking forward to, or like your hope and dream for it?
What do you say, Blood? What do you say?
Yeah, I don't know. It's they brought in a lot of good stuff. Maybe some kind of upgrade to that glider. You know, using the fire was a neat trick, but it really didn't work that well. So finding a way to like really like utilize that glider in a way that you could gain lift to like particularly late game when you've had enough of climbing, you've had enough of waiting out the rain. You know.
Yeah, essentially you had Rivali's wind to try and do that.
Yeah,
but
you
that
did get that, but
like,
yeah.
I think it'd be nice to see like if they're gonna bring that glider back, if they could give you like advancements to it over the course of the game to make it,
Or like the hook shot, maybe more like a grapple.
Oh.
launch
you
off with the
know?
hook shot. That's a Assassin's Creed, right?
Like while you're
Batman.
gliding.
Or Batman, yeah, it's Batman.
Very
dude.
Batman.
Sorry, yeah, it's Batman, not Assassin's Creed. Oh my gosh, yes. Like just like okay, there you go. I like this. Blood. And last thing for you, Huber, are you good?
Yeah, just dungeons. Really, that's the only complaint I had with Breath of the Wild. Just better dungeons.
Don't know when we're gonna hear or see about this. I don't think even this E3 we'll hear or see about like the
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least not Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
We might hear about like a new
Blood
Zelda
speaking the
game, but
truth.
yeah, it's probably not going to hear anything till like E3 2020.
It'll be
at the
cross-platform
earliest.
with Switch and their next system.
Yeah, Switch Pro, of course. The Switch-er.
Death Stranding though will be before or after the new Zelda.
That's
Before.
going to be before.
Easily before.
I bet
that
Death
game's
Stranding's
looking like a
before.
real game at this point.
Yeah, I bet it is. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Good conversation stuff. Good times. Thank you to everyone who submitted your questions for this episode. If you'd like to have your question considered for a future episode of Friend Code, you got to be a $5 and up patron. I'll put up a post the week we are recording, calling for your Q&A submissions. I'll always remind you just keep the questions related to the topics for the episode. I always make you aware of the topics we'll be talking about in that post. And this is the first time I put in the post, make your questions a little bit more concise. Thank you, everyone. You made your questions very concise this time. Helped a lot. I can get more in that way when they're a little bit more condensed like that. And again, if you're also a $1 patron or up, you get this episode and all other episodes of Friend Code, future episodes, early access. That will be
Wait, $5 for early access.
5 bones.
Oh yeah, $5. Thank you. I think I said $1
Checks.
last time.
Bloodworth checks.
Well, correction from last episode. It's not $1. $5 and up get early access to this. But so in addition to getting to submit Q&A for this, you get early access. Sunday evenings is when the episode goes up for patrons. The week we're recording. Otherwise, it is available the following Tuesday that we record. A week from the we record pretty much on a Tuesday. A week after is when it'll be available for everyone else who is not a patron. But thank you again for your support. Thank you both for joining me on this episode. And until next time, may the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.